Still loading.
Yep, it's up.
Hello, everyone. Good evening to all the guests and audience. Welcome to our Pi shows again with the guest speaker, Janet Lau from Hong Kong. She's an author, a seasoned yoga teacher, and a lecturer itself. So I would like to get Janet on board by introduce a bit about herself. May you, Janet? Thank you very much.
Oh, hello, everybody. My name is Janet, and I've been teaching yoga, I think, for about 14 years, and teaching mindfulness for about, 8 years. And so I've written 2 books, and mainly on how to apply yoga and also spiritual practice into our daily life so that we live a harmonious life within ourselves and others. And It is my honor to be here today.
Great. We also feel very honored to have you with us tonight to spend maybe the next 1 hour or 1 hour plus a little bit.
Yes.
So tonight we're going to talk about the law of karma. And I'm so curious from your point of view, what is the law of karma? And how does it work? And what is the application?
To me, the law of karma is basically, it works together with the law of vibration, the law of attraction, and the law of action, and a lot of laws together. So basically, what it is that each action can cause multiple consequences. So when we act, it leaves an imprint in our mind. So one of the consequences is how we think. And then the second level is how we feel. So on the emotional level. So that there can be consequences to the emotions itself. And then the third one would be, of course, the actions. Yeah. So sometimes when we say perform an act, the consequence could be good in certain area, and it could be bad in certain area. So say, for example, say me joining this live today, as an action. And so one of the consequences is that my husband has to take care of my baby, and this could be bad or good depending on his day. Yeah. And but say to the viewers, it could be, good. So there can be, a mixture of good and bad happening. So this is the very general explanation about the cause and the consequence. But what I would like to talk a little bit more about the karma itself is that it's not the action that will affect us so much, but the intention behind our action that will actually generate the karma itself. So say, for example, getting married to someone, So one person can get married out of the reason of feeling pressure from the family because it is the time of, appropriate time to get married.
Right.
And it could be, let's just set it as, pressure from the family. And so this person, gets married to a guy, which she may or may not really like, And then there's this other person who gets married to a guy, not because she has pressure from the peers or from the family, but because she feels that this person is very suitable for her. So out of these 2 cases, case 1, the lady who feel pressure to get married, and then if you think about her thoughts at that moment of getting married, and that would be a lot of fear. you know, a lot of anxiety. And same as the emotions, you know, a lot of worries, a lot of self-doubts and mixed feelings, you know, and these feelings will later on come into play in the relationship. And imagine you married a guy that you don't quite like, and so you have resentment within the relationship, and how is he gonna treat you back in the long run? So of course, resentment, right? Because he also doesn't feel appreciated. And so what goes around comes around, right? So you throw in the resentment, you throw in the worry, and then you get it back. But whereas the other person, so say this lady too, so she married because she you know, feels that this guy is a compatible match, and so there's a lot of love in the relationship, and so she pours in the love and she cares for her husband out of, you know, genuine intention, and then it will definitely come back in the marriage. So it's not the service action, the action on the service, say getting married, that will cause the karma. To some degree, yes, but the deeper karma will be created because of the intention, or how you intend to get into the action, and that will come back, you know, to you. And yeah, so another thing I want to speak about the law of karma is that earlier I gave an example, you know, like what goes around comes around, but this is usually how people understands it, you know. Yes, to some point it is a very simple way, but say for example, if I'm mad at you and I yell at you, and it is very likely that I will be yelled at from you, right? So immediately that's a karma. But what I see in daily life is that the karma, the so-called what's go around comes around, is a more complex than the above example. Say maybe I cheat on, you know, an ex-partner, yeah? Say let's call that partner A. And it's not necessarily that A would cheat back on me. Yeah. So I cheat on A, and then A broke up with me. And so why we broke up? Because in the first place, I was a bit dishonest. Actually, not just about that one night stand, but maybe I have been dishonest all along in that relationship, because if you think about your attitude and your habits don't, you know, happen overnight. You have been having certain kinds of habits for a long time, you see. And so say if I have not been honest to my partners for quite some time, and eventually that created more and more, you know, separation, and so that caused a one night stand, whatever. And so he broke up with me, and then say I want to find someone, sorry, A wants to find someone who is genuine,
right,
you know, to him or her. And he got, oh no, I got my wrong way around. So I cheated on the person. Okay, yeah, now I want to, you know, find a genuine partner. Yeah, now I want to settle down, you know, I don't want to, you know, fool around anymore.
right.
But if I have been a dishonest person all along, do you think I would feel very comfortable amongst a group of very honest people?
It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It won't.
So say I have, you know, made a lot of, you know, mistakes that I don't want people to know, and now say I have this potential date at Adelaide, and you ask me a whole lot of questions, you know, but I wouldn't feel comfortable to reveal my past to you, right? Because I have not been practicing honesty.
Right.
And so, but Adelaide is a very honest person, and so I don't feel comfortable being with you, because being with you, I feel vulnerable. And so what happens is that I would end up hanging out with another group of people who are slightly dishonest, you know, or people who don't really want to talk about their emotions, people who don't really want to talk about their past.
Right.
And so I hang out with them, of course, right? And this is how I feel comfortable. And so, you know, naturally I would be drawn to those people and maybe develop a romantic relationship with, say, one of those guys. And then I think this is gonna be the guy who is not gonna cheat on me because I'm settled down.
Yes.
But if I engage in a relationship with the other partner not being so honest, and what is the chance of me being lied to?
Of
You know,
course, it's
quite high.
quite high. It's
Yeah.
definitely high.
So even if it's not a romantic partner, if I hang out with a group of, slightly dishonest people, the chance of me being cheated is also higher, or being lied to would be higher. So it seems like what goes around comes around. But if you really think about it, I think it has to do with the law of vibration, the law of attraction, plus action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is how I understand karma. And it's the law of vibration, law of attraction, plus action.
Yes. But
Yeah.
it's all, but you mentioned a very important point, which is it's all started with the intention.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Because the intention actually goes deeper than sometimes our conscious mind. Say we unconsciously say for example, like some people, or I used to do this when we feel stressed and we go shopping. But sometimes you don't realize you went shopping until you finish shopping, you know. So the intention is that, oh, I'm bored, I don't know what to do, and then maybe I go shop, and so that I feel a little bit, um, aroused,
right.
Yeah, so the intention actually goes deeper sometimes than our conscious thought.
Interesting. So as a general understanding, when people talk about karma, oh, it's all about action and action. And in fact, from your explanation, I was like, whoa, no, it's something different here that you have to really take care of.
Because I think action, it just it is about, or put it this way, it has different dimensions of density.
Okay.
So the most dense dimension would be the physical action, but then the lesser density would be the speech. But it's still kind of action, but you're not working with your hands, you're using mouth, you're using words, but whatever goes out, it goes out,
Right.
And your thoughts are, the fastest vibration, or another layer of density, which is even more subtle. But usually what you think, you speak. What you speak, you act, right? Can you act without thinking that, or at least without emotionally, thinking or emotionally feeling that? Yeah, you can, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel that for the law of karma, yeah, it also applies to your thought. Yeah, because what you think, you generate emotions, and then when you have certain types of emotions, that emotion can become a motivation for you to act. Say if you're angry, you would act angrily. If you feel sad, you'll act sadly. Yeah.
So right now, can we really move on? How does the application of law of karma probably in your life, in your career, or in your family?
Oh, that's many questions. So if I think about the law of karma in my family, I would think about my baby, my boy.
Mm-hmm.
And every day we're so amazed by him because I think he's really an old soul that, like you can speak to him like as if you're speaking to an adult, and he would understand and he cooperates, and he rarely fuss around and rarely, throws a tantrum. And even if he does throw a tantrum, it only
Right.
lasts less than 1 minute.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very
less
interesting.
than 1 minute.
Less than 1 minute. Most of the time, like 30 seconds.
Wow, he's so cool,
Yeah. So I don't know what I did in the past to deserve this child. But what I noticed with my interaction with him was that I think when he was around 1 year old, as he became, more active,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes to make him fit our time schedule is
Right.
not easy,
Correct.
because he has his own mind. Say, for example, he wants to play with his toy and he just want to keep playing with his toy, but maybe we need to go out,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to get dressed, and then he may still be playing with the toy, and when you want to change his diaper, he might go like, rah, rah, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So in the past, I would force him to go by my schedule.
Right.
And what I noticed, so the karma is that I force him. I didn't respect his timing. And
Mm-hmm.
so he would end up fussing around a lot. He would end up fighting me. And
Mm-hmm.
so the whole day can end up, being so exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And so it lasted for, I forgot, like maybe a week or two. So we used this way to take care of him.
Uh-huh.
And then my husband and I were thinking like, there must be a better way. We don't want to head on and fight with him every day and make him see that we are his, um, enemies
Mm-hmm.
instead of his loving parents. And so what we did was we ended up respecting his timing. It's like, okay, Georgie, you want to play, right? Or you don't want to wear your diaper now. You want to run around naked. Is that right? And then he would go like, yeah. And then I said, okay, you run around for 3 minutes. After
Uh-huh.
3 minutes, I am going to,
Mm-hmm.
get you dressed.
Right.
And so miraculously, after 3 minutes, when I go to him and dressed him, he would
Mm-hmm.
not fuss at all.
Oh.
Yeah, and say if he takes some toy and then I want to take it back, and he said no, and then I said okay, 1 minute, and then you give it back to me, and then he would give it back to me.
Wow.
So I noticed the law of karma here with my boy is that when there is mutual respect, so when I
Mm-hmm.
respect his own timing, when I respect that he is a person, he's not my dog or he's not my doll or something, and he respect me,
Mm-hmm.
so now it's so much easier.
Right.
Yeah, so that is one interesting thing, that I see the law of karma working. And another thing that I could think of is about my husband, actually. So he is a very kind person, and he genuinely wants to help people, and he likes giving people gifts. So these
Oh.
days during coronavirus,
Right.
he would, sometimes he ordered a box of fruit from Taiwan,
Mm-hmm.
and then he would distribute it amongst our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh.
And yeah, he would go and give it to neighbors, or sometimes he say from his company he makes healthy drinks, and he would get boxes of drinks and distribute it to the neighbors. Not
Wow.
because he wants to sell anything, not because he wants to ask them for anything. He just out of joy
Uh-huh.
he gave gave so much things to other people, and he's been doing that for, since I knew him
Uh-huh.
15 years ago.
Wow.
And so the interesting thing I noticed is that his work, they it always went so smoothly, and for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
he would be able to encounter like one of the biggest companies in Hong Kong and get a contract,
Oh. Mm-hmm.
yeah. um and what I see is that when you have the kindness,
Yeah.
and you're not looking for anything back, and it comes back to you. And so this is one very interesting thing I noticed with my husband. So in terms of my work, um, I remember when I first started teaching internationally.
Mm-hmm.
So I was teaching in Japan once,
Mm-hmm.
or when I first started teaching in Japan. And so the organizer uh, tried to get my workshop packed to
Right.
have a full house. And it did. So I was very happy, thinking I was very popular. That was so silly. But anyway, so when I went there to teach, and I saw that there were like all the students, well, not all, but most of the students who attended were the wrong people, meaning that they were people who never studied yoga, who
Mm-hmm.
didn't know any yoga, but that was a workshop about handstand. And so there were like kung fu people, and and so it was so difficult for me to teach that class, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that workshop, I was talking to that organizer and say, why are we having so many, people who are actually not interested in what I'm teaching?
Right.
And then he said, oh, just because I want to fill up the class for you. And at that moment, I was thinking about my intention to teach. Do I teach for the money? Do I want to teach for popularity? Do I want to teach just because they are followers?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, of course, I would like all of those, but
Mm-hmm.
I think my main intention was I wanted to teach because I enjoy seeing people's life transforming.
Mm-hmm.
So back then, I remember making a decision that I only teach um, with parties who have the same intention as me, which
Mm-hmm.
is about promoting wellness in one's being. And so since then, I turned down many opportunities that were not in line with my intention. And to be honest, it was a bit of a struggle because, for people who want to study spiritually, and usually the number is lower,
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
especially in the yoga field. But what I noticed is after, a few years, and now people just come to me because they
They know
know.
you.
Yeah. So because they know, oh, I want to transform myself. I'm so ready. So somehow I attracted all the people who are very ready with an open
Mm-hmm.
heart
Mm-hmm.
to work on themselves. And so this is what I see the law of karma working,
Mm-hmm.
is that, yeah, you have to be very clear with your intention, and it will definitely come back to you, but maybe not now,
Mm-hmm.
maybe later.
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. So here I would like to share a quote. It just comes to my mind. Can I share a quote?
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share screen. And so this is one of my most adorable teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, and what he says about the law of karma is that my actions are my only true belongings, only true belongings, which means there are, all the things that we have in our lives are not really owned by us, which means they are bound to change. But our actions are the only thing that we have full control of, And then the second line goes, I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground upon which I stand.
Mm-hmm.
So this line is very, very helpful to me because, say, when I face difficulty, it is very easy to whine and to blame and, go into self-doubt.
Right.
But then when I stop and ask myself, how am I acting now? And then it is very easy to see, say, if I whine and complain and blame, I know I can see that my actions are all about being a victim. And then when I act like a victim, I never act for my best intention.
Okay.
And then so that reminds me to hold my action and really choose an action that I would like to see myself doing. Can I give you an example here?
Sure.
So say the other day, my husband and I had a very small argument. Very small. So small that I didn't even remember how it started. But so I said one word or one statement, and then he was pissed off.
Ooh.
And then he said, anyway, I forgot even what he said.
Okay.
but so I said something and he got pissed off. And at that moment, I stopped talking because knowing that if I talk at that moment, I will generate worse karma, If I yell at him at that moment, he would definitely yell back. And then I had a lot of healing to do afterwards. So I stopped talking. And so I felt my emotions, and I took some time to, meditate and calm myself down. And once I calmed down, and when I thought about the situation, when I thought about, his view of the situation and my view of the situation, what I noticed was that neither of us were wrong. We just had our own point of view that, each of our point of view, contradicted each other.
Okay.
And so at that moment, I was like, okay, if I wasn't wrong, then do I need to apologize to him and, settle this thing, settle this Cold War? But I didn't want to apologize because I had nothing to apologize. But then, like, I noticed if put it this way, I could choose to initiate the talk.
Okay.
I choose not to, right? That's
Correct.
the two options. Or I can choose to wait until he does it.
Right.
But again, going back to Thich Nhat Hanh's quote, my action is the only true belonging that I have, right? So I cannot control my husband throwing a tantrum at me, but I can control how I'm going to respond in this situation. And I know how I respond will definitely affect our relationship in the short run as well as in the long run.
Right.
And so when I thought about this, I was like, okay, as much as I didn't want to be the one who always initiated, after the argument, but I still chose to do that. And so what I did was, I remember I went to my no, I saw my husband walking by and I was like this. And then he looked like this, and then anyway, so he followed me into my room, and then we sat down, and he looked a bit, like
Awkward.
suspicious. Yes, suspicious, awkward. And then I said to him, I would like to give you a hug. Can you give me a hug? And
Wow.
immediately I saw his face melting. And so we hugged each other.
Uh-huh.
And then so he kissed me on the head.
Uh-huh.
And then I said to him, I didn't apologize,
Right.
but I said to him, having a cold war with you makes me feel very hurt,
Mhm.
which is true. And then he said, me too. So then, the Cold War ended, and then we ended up, holding hands, and then walk out into the living room and play with our kids, our kid. Yeah. So what I see in that situation is that, if I didn't initiate the chat, or to end the Cold War, what happens is that I can prolong this resentment in both of us,
Mhm.
and what I see the law of karma doing is, it's not that there is someone who's recording, on a piece of paper, or like, oh, Janet did this, Adelaide did
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But who's the recording is, it's in our heart, it's in our emotions, it's in our
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, it's in our consciousness, and everyone is doing the recording.
Mm-hmm.
So say in the arguments example is that if I didn't initiate, and
Shit.
yeah, so he would keep the resentment on me, and he would keep thinking, oh, I really hate her, and
Yeah.
and by carrying this hate, and this is gonna come back to me for sure, if
Mm-hmm.
I make him suffer, he's definitely gonna make me suffer.
Yes.
Yeah, so and the law of karma can come back very quick or slow,
Slow.
Mm.
Right. When you talk about the karma, it's not actually an recording on the paper. Sometimes I feel quite pity, when people have some misunderstanding about law of karma. Let's say, for example, I went for hiking, and then I unintentionally stepping on one creepy crawly and it died. Okay, of
Oh,
course, I won't feel good, right?
mm,
Maybe I feel so bad. I killed an insect, but it's not intentionally. After
mm,
that, I carry this kind of maybe feelings or mindset. Then I went for my probably went for my lunch or my breakfast. Then after I finish my lunch, let's say finish my I get a diarrhea. So I will start linking. Oh my goodness, is this the bad karma happening on me? This kind of, to me, is quite, you have to see things in a logical way, even though when we talk about karma. Can you first check whether is the restaurant is clean, your food is clean, or etc.?
yeah.
But
So yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, I go ahead. But most people, I really pity. Most people have some misconception about law of karma.
Yeah, so what I have to say about your example is that, first of all, you never know. You cannot know for sure whether
Yes,
it was you accidentally stepping on, what did you say, caterpillar
like
or,
probably you just put an example is a caterpillar.
okay. So how can you know for sure it's that karma? If you don't know for sure, there is a high chance that you're in your illusion, you know?
Yes.
And so I would not keep thinking of the karma like that, but yeah, as you said, it is your intention that matters. Say, For example, mm, say I promise my family
Mm-hmm.
for an outing, for
Right.
example. And then I spent days preparing for that outing, and then I really look forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
And on the day of the outing, my body had a lot of pain for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason.
Yeah.
Maybe I sprained my ankle the night before, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
as an example. And out of intention, I really, really want to go.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, I can't go.
Mm-hmm.
So um, would the people blame you for not being able to go to the outing just because you hurt yourself? Yeah, maybe. Um, but if the people who understand your situation, they would. But remember, I said at the very beginning, the karma also apply to the emotional level, right?
Correct.
So say no one blames you for not being able to go to the outing, but for yourself, you have a lot of shame
Mm-hmm.
and guilt,
Correct.
you know. And I would say that has to do with the karma that in the past you didn't really take good care of your shame and guilt.
Ah.
Yeah. So say for example, I really can't go to the outing, and then one of my family member really blames me, and because he really wants to go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on how you take it emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So if you think that, oh yeah, it is me, again, that is the shame, blame, karmic force happening to
Mm-hmm.
you. But
Mm-hmm.
for the other person, that person probably has the habit of blaming others.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is also, you know, habit, you know, is another word for
Yes.
karma.
Yes.
So so that karma might belong to you, might not belong to you, but it can still affect you if you have not how can I say, have not fully taken care of your own emotions. In
I
other
agree.
words, so say if the family member blames you, uh, but you have taken care of your shame and blame,
Mm-hmm.
and you learn to forgive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even if he blames you, you can say to yourself, yes, I know he really wants to go, but it's not that I'm trying to be a jerk here. It's not I'm trying to be the troublemaker. I
Right.
I genuinely can't go. And so I forgive myself. And so immediately at that moment, even though that person is blaming you, but you are not being so affected by the person. So I would say the karma is affecting that person more than yourself.
Right. 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 Very good.
But if you haven't taken care of your shame, blame, you know, you don't know how to forgive yourself and everything, you think it's your problem, and then when your family member blames you, you're like, oh yeah, you're right, it's my fault, blah blah blah, and so the karmic links together.
Yes, you highlight a very important point here, which I really wish to deliver this message to all the people out there who try to like, sometimes they really take every blame. They don't, probably they don't blame people, but for example, they will say, uh, I'm not very successful in my life, which means maybe I earn so little, maybe I wasn't doing well in my job, or I wasn't study really good in my school time. So of course that person, he or she might have the blame and the shame, and he carried out throughout his adulthood, probably up to the years of 40s. It's a critical age of the balancing of life, the wisdom, your your career, your status, everything. So probably this person again say, "Oh, I know this is just my karma. This is my destiny of my karma." To me, it's like, well, you have to be aware. Is this really the law of karma working, or you have not built yourself
Yeah,
up?
I would say half of it. Yes, that was that was the that what you're what you're experiencing now is the consequences of your past,
Uh-huh.
but what you are doing now has to do with what you're doing now is also gonna be the cause for your future consequences.
Right.
Future meaning the next minute, the next
Mm-hmm.
hour,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yeah, you can blame about, oh, I didn't have a, you know, a good family that I born in, and then I didn't receive good education, you know. But what about now? Like, okay, that was the bad things that happened, but what can you do now
Mm-hmm.
that can alter the karma, you know, because karma is not set. And what I didn't say earlier is that, yeah, the cause can you know, create different consequences, but the consequences can also change the cause.
Yeah.
Meaning, so if I'm poor now, I didn't have good, you know, high education, and I don't have a lot of opportunities, but if I think about my future, knowing that my future is only gonna get worse if I do nothing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so by thinking of that potential consequence, I can change the course right now. And you can activate the law of karma in a positive way then,
Right.
you know. So in other words, is that if you keep blaming others, you know, or your life, you know, for being a sucker, and that's why you're not successful now, you keep on repeating that karma of being a victim.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we have free will, everyone has free will, and so just because you didn't succeed in the past, that doesn't mean you cannot act differently now. Yeah, it is difficult just because you have, you know, this karmic force or this very heavy habitual energy with you,
Right.
but with the willpower you can change it little bit and little bit and little bit and little bit. Mm.
Great. Thank you, Son. I have another. I would like to drill it further down a bit. You
Of
know,
course.
some I try not to offend anyone, but when you talk about the law of karma, is to me is quite easy to fall into like, oh, this is my past life and this is my afterlife or this is my current life. So my current life was caused by the past life karma and I become like this. So again, this type of situation, would you say is the law of karma or they again blame it on the karmic force and not together on themselves? Of course, I believe they are also they are past life, but what I care about is this life. I don't care what happened in past life. I don't have any
Or you
supernatural power.
cannot know for sure.
Yeah, we cannot know for sure. So when every if if one person tend to blame it like to become a victim, become a victim of the past life of not to success, how can we, break this kind of stupidity? I really call it a stupidity.
First of all, I would say people would make it about past life because you cannot see it. It's much easier to make an excuse, you know.
Right.
But if I explain it, if I shrink the timeline a little bit and say, for example, what I did 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So me 10 years ago, if I see that as my past life,
Right.
me these 10 years I see it as this current life, and me in the next 10 years I see it as my future life. Basically it's just how it goes, right? You
Yes.
just extend the timeline, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's just that, you know, we forgot what happened 10 years ago, you know, as if like a past life, you know, we forgot about it.
Yes.
Anyway, so what I did in the last 10 years, so-called my past life,
Mm-hmm.
is gonna create this habitual energy,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And this habitual energy tends to run on its own. It will get better and better. Say, for
Right.
example, earlier I said being dishonest.
Yes.
So if you have been dishonest in the last 10 lives, not 10 lives, last 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, are you going to be honest right away? You can't, right? You have this super strong habit of not saying the complete truth.
Correct.
Right? And your lies are gonna be better and better the more you
Practice.
it. Yes. So I often say whatever you practice, you get better.
Better.
So you practice lying, your lying is gonna be really good. So in the past life, the last 10 years, you've been dishonest, and so in this life you have a high tendency to be dishonest.
Correct.
But just because you have a high tendency of being dishonest, meaning when you are unconscious, then you have the tendency to be dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're conscious, even though the energy of dishonest is strong, you can still choose to reveal a little bit more truth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's easy, right?
Yes.
So say some people will say, oh, what I have this life because of what I did in the past life, Yes, in a way it is. How you think, how you act, what your habit was in the past. Let's not talk about past life now. In the past,
Mm-hmm.
because you have been practiced it so many times, so
Mm-hmm.
many years, maybe
Yeah.
lifetimes, you're gonna get really good at it.
Yes.
So if it's some negative habits or unhealthy habit, it's just gonna continue when you're unconscious. I have to emphasize this word, unconscious. say for me, I have had this tendency to show off, to really want to let others know that I'm doing better than others,
Right.
So when I first hop onto the spiritual path, I caught myself all the time. It's like, wow, how come my ego is so big,
Okay.
Then you can say in my past life, my ego has been very big, because this is what I've been practicing. But then what I realized in these, 10 years or so is that it can change. If I don't want it to continue, it can change.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to first catch myself. Like, oh, here I'm showing off again. Do I really want to show off like this? Is this what I want people to feel about me? And is this how I want to feel about myself? The answer is no. Okay, what can I do next time? Then I need to really remember when the next time happens, and then I need to act, as we said before, right? You need to act. So the interesting part with action is that it kind of breaks away your old habit. You cannot think away your old habit. You have to act away your old habit. So yeah, maybe your past life, many bad things happen to you, and that's why many bad things still happen to you in this life. But so what? This is all you've got now. Whether it's past life or not, this is all you've got now.
Yeah.
Then what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
And you can choose to continue the way you have continued. That's no right or wrong, but it has its own consequences.
Right.
But if you choose to act differently, it has another set of consequences, And what I often say to people is that, especially those who want to look for the perfect solution,
Right.
I think most spiritual seekers are, in a way, perfectionist. Yeah, anyway. So, but if you look at the choices in front of you, there is no one perfect choice. There may be a most suitable choice, but each choice has a pro and con.
Mm-hmm.
And so, say, for example, I choose to give birth to a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if I say my past life is this wife who has no baby, okay?
Okay, yes.
My current life is this wife who has a baby.
Okay.
My future life can be this wife with the child grow up.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what I caught myself is that when my baby was born, I kept thinking of my past life,
Ah.
pre-birth. It's like, oh, I had so much free time, oh, I can write my books all day, and now I've only got 1 hour to write my book, and I sit in front of my computer and I have no inspiration. And so for a year or so I kept thinking about my past life, as a just a free person.
Yeah.
But then the other day I sat down with myself and I noticed all my resistance, all the blame, oh, if it's not my baby, then I can do this and I can do that. Yeah, the baby is very cute, but I still wish I can do that and that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I asked myself, okay, I know you really miss the past, but this is it now. You cannot reverse it. You
Yes.
cannot shove your baby back into your belly and shrink it. So this is sapphire. So you cannot reverse time now. And this is it, Janet. So what are you going to do with it? Yes, you still want to write a book and you still want to teach and you still want to play with baby, but you still want to, go for massage. You still want to, I don't know, take care of yourself. Okay, given that you want to do so many things,
right?
How are you going to arrange your time according to your life now?
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized was since then, when I acknowledged that I cannot turn back time, and then I managed to reprioritize my life.
Okay.
And I got so much happier.
Wow.
And now I don't miss my past life anymore.
Oh.
So yeah, just today when I was doing yoga and my kid was running around, and before I tend to blame him from stopping me to do a full hour practice.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm used to practice 3 poses and run away and then come back and do 2 more poses and run away and come back, do 3 more poses. Now I'm used to that, and I notice when I stop comparing and I only focus on what I do now, and life is so much easier. So I'm not sure if this is a good example, going back to your question, but at least this is how I see it.
Yeah. It's quite an important of, ring the bell type of things, especially, women talk about feminism. Okay, we want our rights. We can earn our own living, all that. Of course, every one of us live a very happy single life. But once the lady enter into a family life,
Even the husband.
yeah, I lost my freedom. I really lost my freedom. Now, the child is here, is even ripping off our own freedom. So, means where's the priority? Where's the point?
I would say we're not losing our dream, but we just need to dream a little bit differently. The context need to be changed a little bit. And I would say I'm not gonna give up my dream that I had, pre-baby. I'm still pursuing the same dream. It's just that I have to change the context a little bit. I have to change the timing a little bit. But I can still go for that dream. And I think this is what I want to say to all viewers, but whether you're a mother or not, yes, there are many limitations in life. And yes, it could be, old karma from the past. But how you're gonna choose and act now is gonna affect how you feel in the next minute. And I think it's very important for you to choose wisely now, so that you plan a better future, because karma is not set in stone.
Right.
It can change.
Yes.
Otherwise, what's the point of, doing all the spirituality stuff, right? There's no point.
Yeah, correct. That's really an excellent breakdown from you. So very soon we actually have come to an hour sharing. Do you have anything further to add on, Janet?
No.
Okay. There's also not so much. There's no question on the floor. So can we close this talk happily?
Yes, of course.
Wow. Now I feel that I've established a very beneficial karma with you for this live talk. And the session of calming and grounding ourselves before the talk has actually brought me up to the more grounded stage, so that I don't have to, get to be too anxiety or too excited like how it used to be. Namaste to that. And I'm representing all the members and all the society from Pi to thank you, Janet, for giving us an hour and fruitful sharing of the law of karma, right? And we wish you choosing your life and pursue your dream all you can. And of course, I still miss your baby Georgie.
Thank you. Yes, and I wish you and I wish all the viewers a really happy life. You are the owner of your life. Don't put the decisions of your life into others' hands. So you choose what you want to live, how you want to live.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good night to all
Have
the
a
viewers.
good night.
Good.
Take
Bye.
care.
Take care.